31 migrants have just drowned trying to illegally cross a dangerous body of water and sneak into a democratic country with open borders. But this tragedy didn't happen at the southern border of the United States. The migrants were attempting to cross the English Channel en route to the UK. Now, within the past year, the UK has seen a spike in migrant crossings with a new record of 1,000 entering the country every day. Former Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage, an all-around great dude that we love here at the show, joins me now. Nigel, how are you, sir?
I'm very well. I was in the English Channel today myself on a boat filming. I found a boat out there. I called the rescue services. They arrived about an hour later. We had to, well, there's the package there. We had a helicopter. We nearly had to take a small girl off the boat who was suffering from exposure. This is not only illegal, not only wrong, not only immoral, and not only 90% young men, who some would say are of fighting age. I've also been predicting now for 18 months there would be a major tragedy. Today's the first of it. 31 dead. Still, I'm told, a number missing. So that number could go higher. And once again, you know, here we are, the UK. People come illegally, they never get deported. People come illegally, we house them. People come illegally, we feed them. And all the while those pull factors remain, they will keep coming. Today is the visible tragedy of all of this. But you know what? The same thing's happening on the US southern border. I was down on the Arizona border in May. Your problem is even bigger in terms of numbers. And from what I can see, under a Biden administration, no one gets deported. There's talk of giving amnesties to people, safe havens in cities. I mean, the whole thing is mad. There may well be people coming into the US and the UK who genuinely are refugees, but they're a small percentage.
Correct.
It's mostly young men coming in for economic reasons, many of whom finish up in the drugs gangs, in illegality, will contribute to crime in our cities. And on both sides of the pond, we need strong leaders who will get a grip of this. Biden will never do it, and Boris Johnson needs to be kicked into doing it.
Well, actually, we have a soundbite of Boris Johnson reacting to this. Listen to this.
This disaster underscores how dangerous it is to cross the channel in this way. And it also shows how vital it is that we now step up our efforts to break the business model of the gangsters who are sending people to sea in this way.
So he obviously sees a problem with it just from a different perspective you do.
Yeah.
If you don't kick people out when they come over the border illegally and break your laws, what's the incentive for them not to do it?
Yeah, you know, Boris Johnson is very, very good at saying what people think, but not actually doing anything. And so far this year, of illegals that have arrived in Britain, less than 0.25%, less than 1% have been deported. If people who come illegally are allowed to stay, if arguments get made, there should be amnesties made for them. All that does is send a message to the rest of the world that more should come. So, you know, we may be 3,000 miles apart through the Atlantic. The problems are very similar. The solutions are very similar. We need leaders who don't just talk, but leaders who act. And this can be dealt with.
Yeah, it's interesting, though. There's a pattern here. A lot of politicians actually don't really do anything that they say they're going to do. We're seeing that here in this election. But UK leadership is, I mean, they're failing. The UK shadow Homeland, the Homeland Security Secretary, your version of it this week. Take a listen to this.
But the Home Secretary's failure is a dangerous failure. We have thousands of people risking their lives in these most dangerous sea lanes, the most dangerous sea crossing in the world. And if the rate continues as it is at the moment, if the rate of increase from last year to this year is repeated again next year, we'll have as many people risking their lives in the Channel as there are people in Priti Patel's constituency. Her incompetence on this issue is dangerous.
Yeah, so more talk, more tough talk. There's a problem. They all see the problem, but nobody fixes it.
Well, it's career politics, isn't it? You know, it's people who leave university, leave college, go into research offices, become politicians, no experience of business, no experience of the real world, no experience of being held accountable by shareholders or anybody else. just lie to the public at every election, throw some red meat in between elections to the, and assume that the opposition party will be as gutless as you are. And that's how it's been. Brexit at least now gives us the opportunity to deal with this. But we have to leave some of the UN rules on migrants. The United Nations has tied us to many ridiculous rules that take away our sovereignty. Even though we've got Brexit, we're still tied to European human rights. So we have got to have a second Brexit. And the second Brexit is to get back control of our own refugee laws. And I would suggest, actually, in America, you're potentially in a better position.
Right.
Because there's a friend of mine out there who was the 45th president, who actually does have the courage and the integrity to deal with these things. And that's why the left scream at him. That's why CNN and the New York Times hate him. But I genuinely believe that a Trump presidency would have the guts to finish the wall and reverse all of this.
Yeah, well, we saw it. I mean, he was willing to do it. He went all the way. He took a ton of heat for it. He didn't care. He worked for us every day. Former Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage, we appreciate you being here, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.